working for Te Pukaria Society, an environmentally focused NGO based in Rarotonga, Cook Islands. As an environmental studies major with a specific interest in climate change, this internship provided me with a unique opportunity to study environmental issues in a remote island country, which is at particular risk as a result of global anthropogenic climate change. The Cook Islands is a collection of 15 islands in the South Pacific Ocean. Of the 15,000 people who live in the Cook Islands, about 10,000 live on the main island of Rarotonga, which is where I was located this summer. The organization I worked for was called Te Pukaria Society, which is Cook Islands Maori for Our Heritage. Te Pukaria Society was the first environmental NGO in the Cook Islands, established in 1996, immediately after the downsizing of the National Environment Service. The mission of Te Pukaria Society is to promote balance and harmony between people and the environment, and encourage proactive solutions to environmental problems through partnerships with a wide variety of stakeholders. Te Pukaria Society has 4 main issue areas, and I was able to work within each of those. The first issue area is biodiversity. In my time at Te Pukaria Society, I was able to attend an invasive species workshop focused on developing a comprehensive invasive species action plan for the Cook Islands, and also helped to tag crocus snails out on the reef behind our office. The second issue area is waste management. Though Rarotonga does have a landfill and a regular waste pickup, most people on the island burn their trash. I did a considerable amount of research on current waste management practices and prepared fact sheets on the dangers of burning trash, the impacts of plastic waste on marine life, and the effects of agricultural runoff in the lagoon. The third issue area is ecologically sustainable development. I contributed to a campaign against purse seine fishing in the Cook Islands, including the presentation of a petition to the Cook Islands Parliament, which had amassed over 7,000 signatures, representing approximately half of the voting population of the Cook Islands. The fourth and final issue area is youth. In this area, I assisted with 2 separate youth campaigns: a Bike to School Week competition for students across the island of Rarotonga to promote eco-friendly transportation, and a poster competition for students across all 15 islands of the country, focusing on the protection of the marine environment. Past the halfway point of my internship, I began to reflect on the country I was living in and the environmental issues I was working on, and one major question kept coming back into my mind. As a small, isolated nation with limited resources, how does the Cook Islands determine its environmental priorities? With the guidance of my faculty advisor, Dr. David Kitchen, I decided to conduct an analysis of the 3 biggest environmental issues I saw while working at Te Pukaria Society: waste management, fisheries, and climate change. I analyzed each issue from 3 perspectives: environmental health, public health, and economic impact, and assigned each issue a numerical score on a scale of 1 to 5. In each of those categories, 1 representing little to no impact, and 5 representing a severe impact. In the category of public health, waste management received the highest score of a 5, followed by climate change with a 4, and fisheries with a 1. Fisheries received such a low score because the only major impact I encountered was the potential for people to consume higher quantities of canned proteins with higher salt and fat contents if there are less fish in the ocean. But this is not a definite future, as some people may choose to become vegetarians or eat other non-fish meats, such as chicken. And as anyone who is on my conference calls knows, there are plenty of chickens on the island of Rarotonga. Some of the public health impacts of climate change are already being seen in the Cook Islands, such as the recent outbreak of chikungunya, a disease transferred by mosquitoes which may become more prevalent in the climate change-driven, hotter, wetter conditions that mosquitoes thrive in. The threat of migration as a result of sea level rise can also lead to depression and other mental health disorders, but this is a long-term impact that the Cook Islands has not yet seen. Waste management received the highest score in this category because the public health impacts are happening right now. The inhalation of smoke and associated toxic chemicals can cause permanent lung damage and severely impair bodily functions. Smoke can also settle on crops and in waterways, and humans can ingest those toxic chemicals through that avenue as well. Children are especially at risk because they often play in the dirt near ashes of old trash fires, and as we all know, children are more prone to put their hands in their mouths. The category of environmental health was particularly hard to quantify. All three of these issues have the potential to lead to ecosystem collapse, but we don't know exactly how the environment will respond to these individual human-driven problems. Therefore, I base the ratings in this category off of how many paths to ecosystem collapse each issue presented. Climate change received the highest score of a 5 in this category, followed by waste management with a 4 and fisheries with a 3. The species at risk in the fisheries issue is the big-eyed tuna, and the disappearance of this species creates one possible path to ecosystem collapse. Improper waste management practices seem to create two possible paths to ecosystem collapse: changing physical ecosystem conditions as a result of air pollution from smoke, and fish kills as a result of agricultural runoff. Climate change presents the most possible pathways to ecosystem collapse. Sea level rise is likely to alter biota distributions and abundances, especially for coastal dwelling species. Changing temperature and precipitation patterns may put severe stress on species with narrow tolerances, possibly driving them to extinction. The new environmental conditions of the Cook Islands as a result of climate change may be more favorable for invasive species than native species. Finally, ocean acidification can lead to coral bleaching, destroying the base of an entire marine ecosystem. That is a total of 4 paths to ecosystem collapse, giving climate change the highest score in this category. In the final category of economic impact, waste management received the highest score of a 5, followed by climate change with a 3, and fisheries with a 2. It is important to note that in this category, I did not include medical costs associated with any of these issues, as that was included in my analysis of public health. Exploiting the fisheries of the Cook Islands has the potential to lead to loss of tourism dollars if tourists sign up for deep-sea fishing expeditions and don't catch any fish, an issue that the charter boats were already having when I was there this summer. However, the government of the Cook Islands makes a considerable amount of money selling fishing licenses to foreign purse-seine fishing boats, so from an economic standpoint, there isn't a huge loss. There are several costs associated with climate change. The cost of relocating an entire population in the case of extreme sea level rise, agricultural losses as a result of saltwater intrusion from sea level rise, and a severe loss of tourism dollars as a result of the current chikungunya outbreak and the threat of a dengue fever outbreak. While these costs are steep, they are also at least 20 or 30 years down the road for the Cook Islands. The costs associated with waste management are immediate. Constructing a second landfill is a significant cost, as is the maintenance of a waste pickup program around the island. Recyclable goods are costly to process and ship back to New Zealand or Australia for disposal, and these costs are often imposed on the consumer. There is also the potential for severe cuts in tourism dollars due to smoke inhalation while walking around on the island, litter on the beach detracting from the island's natural beauty, and lagoon pollution preventing any recreational water activities. The final numbers suggest that waste management, not climate change, is the biggest environmental issue facing the Cook Islands today. Before traveling to Rarotonga, my expectation was to learn about mitigation efforts, adaptation strategies, and the fears of residents who were facing imminent migration. This was not the case. On my cycle rides around the island, I did not think about rising sea levels. I thought about the toxic smoke that I was breathing in every single day. Climate change may sometimes act as a singular narrative, crowding out other development issues that may be just as or even more pressing. The idea of a nation disappearing into the sea highlights the Cook Islands' vulnerability while decreasing their agency. Working for Te Pugare Society and living on the beautiful island of Rarotonga for 2 months was truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I would like to thank Dr. David Kitchen, Ms. Cassie Price, and the staff of Te Pugare Society for all of their support. Thank you.